Hi, I'm Dan Raywood at IT Security Guru, here with Sanjay Kapoor from Nominum. Today we're talking about DNS security at the ISP level. So Sanjay, are ISPs strong and secure enough to deal with a targeted attack or a denial of service attack?
Well, ISPs have implemented many levels of security today to protect from attacks of either distributed denial of service. As an example, they've implemented firewalls. A mobile operator implements what is called an LTE firewall to protect against a distributed denial of service attack. Our solution is actually a defense in-depth strategy to augment what they've already implemented to prevent against these distributed denial of service attack. It's another layer of defense that prevents against attacks that could derive from either DNS amplification or botnet type of attacks.
Sure. I'm going to ask you, what are the solutions that ISPs can consider? I guess they've got to be more than just a basic firewall or a basic intrusion prevention system. It's got to be much more robust than that. Yeah, sure. Okay. So what would be the wider impact on an ISP? So if it would suffer an attack that sent it down for a period of time, would the whole city go out, for example?
No, actually there are multiple things that can go wrong, right? So the first is, historically most of the attacks to the ISP's network were originating from what we call the outside, that's from the internet. But with the growing amount of malware such as botnets on their subscribers' computers and phones, the attackers could basically take over those phones and those computers to launch an attack from the inside. And that's why we talk about inside threat aversion. And so there's a new breed of attacks which is really arising from the users of the ISP. And there are multiple implications. The first implication is these large-scale distributed denial of service attacks can bring down the ISP's infrastructure. So that's the first problem. The second problem is that these attacks arising from the inside the network can also bring down some financial institution websites as well as some of the top websites in the world. And that's really not good news for the ISPs because that's, it gives them a bad reputation, and which is bad for business, peering arrangements, and so on.
Yeah. So
those are the two really big implications of why they need to protect themselves against these new types of attacks that arise from the inside rather than from the outside.
But it's also they're offering internet services to lots and lots of people at once, so they go down there, a massive amount of people can be affected.
That's right. Yeah.
So do you think an ISP could be deemed to be a weak or maybe an easy target, or have they got the solutions in place generally?
Well, I think I wouldn't say that they're weak. They're an easy target. Most ISPs have already implemented firewall and IPS solutions, so they can block against the attacks.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like the attacks will get through. Right. The attacks are going to be blocked by solutions such as firewalls, IPSs, or Arbor networks, for example.
Yeah.
I think what we're offering today with our solution is another level of defense. Which is really preventing the fire from starting in the first place. Firewalls and IPS is really blocked against, that's why it's called a firewall. It blocks into the attack. Yeah. But what we're saying is, wouldn't you rather have another level of safety and security that we can avert the attacks before they even get started, get started in the first place. So it's a multiple levels of security function. So I wouldn't say that they are vulnerable today. They're vulnerable in the sense that especially in nations such as Russia and so on, where there's lots of infection rate, they're more vulnerable than in the carriers in the Western U.S. But regardless, wherever you are, right, having another level of defense is always a good thing.
Absolutely, and more and more prevention is always going to be better than having none at all. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sanjay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.